please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance followed by the South Carolina Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of South Carolina and pledge to the Palmetto State love, loyalty, and faith. You may now be seated. Please pause for a moment of silence.
Hi students, this is Mrs. Seaman and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about taking care of your iPads. So as you take care of your iPad, one thing to think about is the screen. It is made of glass, so you want to be careful that when you put it on your desk, you are putting it in the center of your desk so that it won't fall off. You also want to make sure that you're cleaning it with a soft cloth, something similar to what you would use if you're cleaning your glasses. Never ever spray water or some sort of cleaner onto the screen of your iPad. When it comes to the case is really going to be what protects that screen. So as you're not using your iPad, please make sure that you're closing that case. You should never be ripping the cover off of the case. You want to make sure that you're, as much as possible, keeping that case closed. There is insurance that we have on the iPads. It does cover one breakage, but you're going to have your iPad for at least 3 years, sometimes 4. So if you're breaking your iPad more than once during that time, you are going to be charged a fee for it. So please, again, be careful with those iPads. When you're at school, sometimes we take the iPads to different locations around the school. So please remember when you're moving it around that we give it a nice big hug. We use 2 hands when we're holding our iPad. Please don't put it underneath your arm because that's an easy way for somebody to come by and bump into you by accident and for your iPad to fall. Also, if you're going to the bathroom and you have your iPad with you, so sometimes that happens as you're moving back and forth to specials, please don't put your iPad flat on the ground. Make sure you're leaning it up against the wall so that way that lessens the chance of somebody stepping on it. And remember to make sure that your iPads are fully charged. If you're able to take your iPad home, you want to make sure not to let anybody else use your device. So if you look on the back of the iPad, it's got your name on it. That means it's your responsibility to keep up with it. So little brother or sister shouldn't be using it, older brother or sister shouldn't be using it, and your parents should be using it only if they're helping you with schoolwork. Make sure that you don't take your iPad to dinner, so we don't want anything to spill on it, and make sure you're keeping it in a spot overnight or where it's charging, where it's away from animals or people that could get to it. And again, if you do take it home, make sure you bring it back with a charge. You are responsible for keeping up with your charger. The school district only gives you one charger for that 3 or 4 years that you'll have your iPad. So you want to treat your charger just as gently as you're treating your iPad. So again, make sure that you're charging it every night so that it comes to school charged if you take it home. A lot of times I see damage happening to iPads when they go into your backpacks. One thing I see is that the iPad goes into your backpack, but you're in such a hurry you forget to zip the backpack, and as you're walking down the hall, the zipper keeps coming down, and the next thing you know, your iPad and all other things have spilled out onto the floor. So make sure that you take that extra 10 seconds to zip your backpack shut if you have your iPad in it. Another thing that I see is that when students are getting home or even into the car, they're slinging that slinging that backpack down and forgetting that the iPad's inside, and sometimes even sitting on the backpack, and that's damaging the iPad too. So when it's in your backpack, just be extra careful not to throw that backpack around. One other thing that I see happening as damage in a backpack is if you have a lot of pens and pencils in your backpack, try to put them in a pouch or put them in a different compartment than where your iPad is going, because sometimes a pen or a pencil will get underneath your case, and if any pressure gets on that case, sometimes that will crack the screen too. So be very careful as you're putting your iPads into your backpacks. We do have rules at the school for using your iPad. So an offense of using your iPad incorrectly is something as simple as not being prepared for class, for using your iPad irresponsibly, doing things that you shouldn't be doing with it, or forgetting your iPad at home. So those are some level 1 offenses, and those have consequences. And the consequences might be that you don't get to use your iPad for a project or something like that. Level 2 violations happen when you're doing those things repeatedly. If you bring your iPad back to school and it never has a charge, that's a level 2 offense. If we help you take photos off of your iPad and the next thing we know you've got 100 photos again, then that is something that you're repeatedly doing. So that has more consequences. That might mean that you don't get to use your iPad for a week. Maybe you don't get to use your iPad for a month. So make sure that you're making good choices when you're using your iPad. We will give you a chance to make it right, so we will give you a warning the first time, but after we give you that warning, know that you're going to start losing access to your iPad more frequently. If you are allowed to take your iPad home and you keep forgetting to bring it back to school, then we're going to keep the iPad here for you. So just like you're bringing your lunch to school every day or your book bag to school every day, if you take your iPad home, it needs to come to school every day too. So the school district has a student pledge. At the end of this presentation, your teacher will be going over that student pledge with you and asking you to sign that pledge. So as you look at the things that are on that pledge, those are just reminders for ways that you should use your iPad responsibly. I know you all can do it. So these next couple slides are for the teachers if they want to go through this with you and help you set up some of these things on your iPad. I'm going to send this presentation to your teachers so that they can go through these slides with you. When it comes to your managed Apple ID, that's how we store things in the cloud, the iCloud. So if you're not logged into your Apple ID, you're not going to be able to save things up into the cloud. So we want to make sure that we get that done within the first 2 weeks of school. Canvas is what we use in 2nd through 5th grade to share content with you. So these are the directions for logging into Canvas. And then Google Drive. So some teachers use Google Drive a lot, some just use Canvas. So if your teacher uses Google Drive, they will help you get logged into that as well. And then Clever, you can use your badges, but you can also log in using your school district username and password too. So your teachers can help you with that if we need to. So teachers, now is the time if you want to have students clean up their iPad. This can be the time to do that, especially since they've been home over the summer. So students, the school rule is that you should only have 2 personal photos or videos on your iPad. We prefer that you don't have any videos if possible, just because they take up a lot of room on your iPad. So we want the storage space on your iPad to be used for projects here at school. So teachers, if you want to take that time now to clean up iPads, take off photos, you can do that, or later on sometime today. Also, students, we want to make sure that you don't have too many games or apps on your iPad. Again, we only have a certain amount of storage space on your iPad for school-related things. So you should only be downloading apps from self-service and only the apps that your teachers tell you to use. So if you went to self-service and downloaded every single app that you could, it's going to fill up your iPad and you're not going to be able to use it. So now's the time to look through and see if you have made a transition from kindergarten to first grade. There may be some apps that you don't need, fourth grade to fifth grade. So make sure that if there's apps that you used last year but you don't need this year, to go ahead and delete those off your iPad too. The school rules for taking pictures, again, you should only have 2 personal photos on your iPad. And then we really don't want you taking pictures of other students or teachers. So that's a privacy thing. We don't want you to invade somebody else's privacy by taking pictures of them. The only exception to that rule would be that if you're doing something for a school project and your teacher asks you to take a picture for a presentation, you can do that. And then as soon as it goes where you need it to go for your presentation, then you can delete it off your iPad. And then the rules for downloading apps, again, I talked about that a minute ago. Make sure that you stay logged into your Apple ID. Only download apps that your teacher asks you to install, and only from self-service. And then the last thing, students, is digital citizenship. When you are online, when you're using your iPad, I want you to be the best digital citizen that you can possibly be. So teachers will show you this video. I want you to be thinking about what are the characteristics of a positive digital citizen, and I want you to think about what are those characteristics that you need to have to be safe and smart as you're using the internet.
No matter where you go online, being a good digital citizen can make your online experience much smoother and safer. Thankfully, you can become a better digital citizen in just a few steps. First, always treat others as you'd like to be treated. As you go through forums, comment sections, and social media, remember you're interacting with real people, so be respectful and speak as you would if you were face-to-face. Insulting, bullying, or arguing with people only makes things worse, and that sort of negativity can have real-life consequences. Next, don't feed the trolls you meet. Trolls are people who enjoy aggravating or arguing with others, and they're found in comment sections, message boards, or anywhere else that can cause disruption. Unfortunately, they're also fairly common. If you encounter a troll, it's best not to interact with them, as any response will likely encourage them to continue their behavior. Don't take material that doesn't belong to you. Although it seems easy to claim others' work for your own use, you still need permission to use material that isn't yours. Always think carefully about what you post online. Remember that once you submit something, you lose control of it, whether it's a message board post or a text message. That's one big reason why your digital footprint can last for many years. So don't post anything that could hurt you if someone found it years later. Be incredibly careful with your personal info. Avoid posting sensitive information, such as your mailing address, phone number, or driver's license number, as some people may try to use that information to take advantage of you. Whenever you're in doubt whether something is safe to post online, don't post it. Finally, don't believe everything you read online. Always take the time to investigate claims and confirm their reliability, especially if they seem extraordinary. That also means you shouldn't share unconfirmed info on social media, or else you could be spreading misinformation. Essentially, being a good digital citizen means you're respectful and safe wherever you go online.
All right, students. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and I cannot wait to come see you in your classrooms in the next couple weeks. And if you had anything break on your iPad over the summer, please make sure that you show that to your teacher so that we can get that iPad to me, so that way we can be sure to get that fixed for you. So I'm looking forward to doing some great fun, exciting projects with you later on this year, and have a great day.